I went back to school probably after he was about 6 months old, and I was in school throughout my pregnancy and then went back to school after he was born.
I nursed my son and I returned back to school. I was in school when I had him, and I just brought him with me after I had him. So I had him like at the beginning of the school semester, and then I just brought him with me.
I tried going back to work when my youngest was just a few months old, and I couldn't do it.
My last child here, I returned back to work in a corporate office, and he was allowed to come with me. And so he was with me for the first 6 months of work, which is really cool. I can totally give credit to Planned Parenthood. I was a community health worker, so it kind of made sense to just kind of model what we would like to see in community, especially Native community, is that children should be included, in a full circle atmosphere. And I think that business, especially the work that I was doing, was with families. And so it was very easy for me to take him to meetings with me, to just nurse him on hand, to bring his cradle board, and just to change the dynamics of what work looked like with the child. He was very quiet, he didn't disturb anything. People were impressed. I always got compliments that he was a really good baby. He was very just aware of his surroundings, and he just knew that his place was in my lap.
Working in the Native community obviously is different, but I think that in any educational institution or any place of employment, I think that you're going to have mixed thoughts and mixed feelings about it. I think that it's okay. I think that our children need to eat no matter what. We need to be able to feed them regardless of whether people sexualize that feeding act or not.
I've had many experiences throughout my life in breastfeeding and returning to work or school, and I can say as teen support, there wasn't any support at all. It was pretty much just kind of just make it happen and don't think about it. Like, I didn't want to inconvenience anybody, so I just wanted what was best for my kid. But that didn't support breastfeeding, so I ended up not continuing with my first child.
I mean, people have to have their rights to choose everything, their decision, but I don't think it should be so accessible. I think breastfeeding should be the go-to for health, mental, physical, social, everything.
My process of learning resources in the community, like surrounding breastfeeding, was trial and error, I think, with each child that I had, each experience.
I guess I wish I'd known a little bit more about what my rights were, or where I could, I just nursed him wherever I felt like it, wherever he was hungry, but I always used a blanket just because that was my comfort level, and that was it was like a private time between my baby and I, so that was, but I never had anybody say, like, you can't nurse here or anything like that.
I think that the information's there, the support's there, the laws are there, but a lot of times people have to be their own advocate and put their foot down and ask for everything, when I think that we should be there by now, where it's just a given.
There are a widespread variety of breastfeeding environments, I think, in the workplace, and you have to think about access and time. I think a lot of businesses really are not wanting to make the shift, maybe want to make the shift to support breastfeeding, but it makes it difficult. So when you think about the police department, and that's one of the hot topics now, is like the police department, and how do those women get to take their breastfeeding breaks, right? Because they have to wear the shield They have to wear their gear, bulletproof vest, you know, what does that do to the mom's breast, you know, and it's like, realistically, what do we want? And it is access to breastfeeding for everybody.
You're gonna have to find time to pump and a place that you're comfortable pumping.
And I just used a blanket to cover up, and I nursed him for till he was over a year old.
I just think that people should kind of mind their own business. If you see somebody nursing, they're just feeding their child, and whether it's coming from a breast or a bottle, they're feeding their baby.
I was working with a friend of mine, and she had her baby around the same time, and she was I think that she was trying to get a breastfeeding room set up. It was at a store like in the back, but she showed me, she's like, you can, I was pumping, well, I was trying to pump while I was at work, and she's like, you can do it in the break room, but if you aren't comfortable with that, you know, let me show you. And we went all the way back to the storeroom in the corner, and it was just like this folding chair staring at a wall with some pegboard screen for privacy. And I was just like, I'll just do it under my shirt in the break room, because I can't even think here or relax, and it takes too much time to get back there and clock back in. So being bold, I guess you could call it, like somebody walk in, I might cover up a little more just out of respect or to make them comfortable, I guess, but there's no way I was gonna go hide in the storeroom.
I also think that it makes people feel unapproachable when they're nursing a baby, because we don't know as mothers if the other person is going to be comfortable or not. I've had people walk up when I was at work and try to come and see my new baby and be like, oh, you're breastfeeding, and then, you know, like want to run, and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay, it's covered, and even if it's not, it's just food, you know, and stuff. And so I think that it's important for us to communicate to other people in the workplace or in school that it's okay. We're not, you know, we don't have a disease. We're not, you know, you don't have to, you know, sometimes it feels like we're repelling them or something, and, you know, and I just think that, you know, that's important too, to let the community and your coworkers and stuff know that it's okay, you know, it's not, it shouldn't be as taboo as it is.
I don't think it's much to ask for a small space for privacy for a breastfeeding woman, you know, and a place to store it. You know, it's like, have adequate services for families, you know, because that'll increase your productivity from your employees. You know, it'll make people more invested in your companies. You know, it's an important service that it doesn't take much, and even though people think it's out of their realm because it's, you know, a police service or construction or, you know, even the library, you know, it's like all of these things have a place, should have a place for parents, and they're interconnected, you know, like parenting and work and play and community, you know, it's all connected.
I appreciate when there are public areas to nurse babies. I think it's a great service to offer for businesses and things of that nature. I don't think that we should be resigned to using them if we don't want to. I think we should be able to sit down wherever we want. If we want to sit in the grass or wherever and feed our child, I think we should. So that's the only real opinion I think I have about that. I think that a lot more public facilities and stuff should offer nursing areas, but I don't think we should have to use them.
It depends on the workplace and the school environment, but I think, again, being your own advocate and like allowing yourself and telling people, maybe teachers or bosses, you need more time to make that transition, and allow yourself the time so you're not late to class, late to work.
I just always used a blanket or a cover up, and like it wasn't ever an issue. Like nobody ever said anything to me. I think there was one person who made a comment about him being a little bit too old to be nursing, and he wasn't even one yet. And I just, it was kind of old school thinking, and I just ignored it because I knew that you know, the benefits of nursing outweighed any kind of comment that people would ever make to me.
If they don't come up, if they're coming up to you and then they stop themselves because they notice you're feeding and then they walk away, it kind of feels like, you know, maybe I shouldn't be sitting here nursing my baby. Inviting, you know, conversation or inviting somebody to come and socially connect with me because I'm out in public. And that's not okay.